Coach Mo.
Hey, it's Coach Mo.
Hey, it's Coach Mo.
Knowing what you want to accomplish professionally is just the beginning. I'm Coach Mo, and this podcast is for young professionals and emerging leaders who want to lead, achieve, and succeed at work. You've got executive ambitions and the drive to get there. Join me for perspective, insights, and thought-provoking questions that only you can answer. Today's episode starts now.
Tuesdays with Coach Mo.
So if I asked you to complete the following sentence with just one word, what word will you choose? The statement is, change is. Now, your answer may in fact run the gamut from change is good or change is bad. You may in fact describe change as challenging or difficult or exciting or scary. Ultimately, the most accurate and universal answer of all is quite simply, change is inevitable. Just as you become comfortable with the status quo will change. And as an emerging leader within an organization, the degree of change varies widely. There are narrow in scope, such as changes in individual roles, like possibly your boss or a colleague, for example. And then on the other hand, there are broad changes in scope, such as organizational processes and systems changing. Whether narrow or broad, these type of changes within organizations do have an impact on you and on others within the organization. And what I know to be true in my own experience and that of my clients is that change may in fact appear negative initially, yet be positive in the long run. For example, the loss of a big client. While the loss has the potential of a negative short-term impact because of its effect on your yearly goals, it may in fact push you and the team to reinvent your business approach that results in increased productivity and efficiency in the long run. And I even know of instances where the opposite is true. A narrow or broad change that at first appears positive, yet in the long term has negative implications. So what does all of this mean? Well, change is taking place, like it or not. My question to you is, how important is it to you to have an understanding of how you respond to change and how others around you respond to change? It really is a sign of growth when change is happening within an organization, and you have the capacity to lead others through this process. It actually is a mark of great leadership as you pursue your executive ambitions. In today's podcast, I will share with you what I believe to be specific steps you can take to effectively lead others through change and steps for leading yourself through change. Now, the global research and advisory company Gartner reports that on average, organizations have undergone 5 broad changes in the past 3 years, and 73% of organizations expect more change initiatives in the next few years. So again, I echo, change is happening whether you like it or not. So here are a few considerations I believe are important for you as an emerging leader. First off, it's important to understand that people experience change differently. There are those who, like me, are hardwired with futuristic talents and are energized by new possibilities that lie ahead. And then there are those who have what Clifton's strength assessment refers to as adaptability talents, and they tend to favor keeping the focus on things just as they are today. It's quite possible that for those with adaptability talents, discussing change may actually conjure up feelings within them that are uncomfortable and possibly undermining them for being their best self. And the second thing to consider is when change does happen, it oftentimes is accompanied by poor communications. When employees are getting their information about possible changes through, let's say, the rumor mill, That's really not an efficient or an effective process of communication, and it's likely to create chaos at the very least. So, in terms of a short story for you, while working at the Coca-Cola Company, I was in a chief of staff type role for the Business Innovation Group, and it was a brand new 30-plus person team that was charged with identifying new revenue streams beyond the classic beverage offerings. So in addition to figuring out how we were going to identify viable revenue-generating initiatives, we were faced with a range of considerations with launching this new group. First, how to engage the existing business units. Second, how to determine the processes. What were we going to put in place to support us achieving the goals of our group? Third, how do we get the engagement of some of the support groups like marketing communications or the consumer insights group or even IT? These groups are already stretched thin with the demands of the current organizational structure. And then fourth, and not least of all, how to keep our team members engaged and motivated to be productive in this journey of the unknown. And as an aside, some of those new team members were there by choice, and some were actually placed there because of a recrafting of their role. So, in summary, this experience I had at the Coca-Cola Company was a full-on case of change management. Now, in my role, I served somewhat as a linchpin between the team and the strategic direction as it was being crafted in real time by the vice president for the group. What I learned through that process was the importance of bringing people along on the journey and how you lead others. We were only going to be successful if we could bring others along in the vision of the value we expected to deliver for the other groups and for the organization. Now, that included a level of preparedness for handling objections, anticipating resistance, and doing more listening. What this experience also taught me is the significance of knowing oneself as a leader. This process of leading change involves a healthy degree of self-confidence and navigating ambiguity, because we did not have answers to all the questions, and we were learning through the process. So when you, in fact, are tasked with leading your organization through a period of change, here are some tips you can take to help employees weather the change and respond positively to what's to come. First, give consideration to what the employees want to know. Anticipate their questions. Be prepared to respond to them, even if you don't know the answer. What info can you offer? The what, who, why will be involved in actually figuring out the answers to the questions that have yet to be answered. Second, acknowledge the sense of loss. As your organization is moving to something new, something old is actually going away. Recognize your employees' emotions with regard to that loss, but also emphasize the potential for the organization to move forward under new leadership, new ownership, or with new possibilities. Third, provide clear and regular communications. Getting people to go along with change depends upon how it is communicated. Provide your employees with regular updates about what is happening within the organization, even if there are still unknowns. Sharing that you're aware of those unknowns and that you are in process of seeking answers. 4, solicit input. Change is accompanied by a myriad of decisions, both big and small. Some of the small things like the color that you paint walls of a new office area or headquarters, that actually may loom larger than you think. Solicit input from employees on matters as seemingly inconsequential as, let's say, decorating a new office or where an office will be located, and how you, in fact, even approach new clients. That's helping them feel ownership of these decisions. And then fifth, Focus on the future. Ensure that you have a professional development program in place that targets future leaders with employee education, training, coaching. Towers-Watson Change in Communication ROI survey found that 87% of employers train their managers on effective change management. However, only 25% of those employees found the training to be effective. So getting this right is so important for your employees, as they will feel as if they're invaluable to your organization's future success. Now, in terms of creating the desired state for helping yourself as a leader, here are a few considerations for you. Number one, check in with your mentor. Gain insight on their experience for leading others through change. What worked? What maybe not so much? 2, reach out to your human resource representatives for support and assistance. They often have a wealth of resources available. 3, have the clarity of what you want and need by having conversations with your boss on the vision that's expected as a result of the change. Also, engage their support directly and indirectly. Be clear on what you need from them to support you in leading the change with your team. And then 4, be self-aware. What talents do you possess? Support your abilities as an effective leader when leading others through change, and which of your talents get in the way or interfere with your effectiveness as a leader. The answers to these questions may in fact be found in assessment resources like the DISC or the Clifton Strengths or the 360 Leadership, which are all designed to provide you with increased awareness of your talents and behaviors related to your leadership competencies. So now to our segment of Coach Mo Knows, a tip, a coaching question, and a bit of inspiration. And my tip this week is to check out HBR's Manage Mentor, their change management online course, as it says on its registration page, and I will provide a link in the show notes for today's episode. The online course that is self-paced costs about $50, and it provides practical advice for implementing, managing, and communicating change in your organization. It includes steps to help you, your unit, your organization become change ready. And it provides planning tools to address resistance to change efforts. So again, I will be providing a link to the Manage Mentor by HBR on change management in the show notes for today's episode. My coaching question for this week is, how will you benefit by having increased clarity on how you respond to change? And how will those you work with benefit by having clarity on how you respond to change? And as for my inspiration this week, it comes from the leadership thought leader of Harvey Mackay, who said, "A mediocre person tells. A good person explains. A superior person demonstrates, and a great person inspires others to see for themselves." Thanks for listening to Tuesdays with Coach Mo. Please do subscribe so you receive each of our bi-weekly podcasts. Until next time. That's a wrap for this episode of Tuesdays with Coach Mo. Showing up here tells me you're willing to invest in yourself and your career. Get additional resources at TuesdaysWithCoachMo.com. Please subscribe and leave a review. I'd love to get your feedback. Till next time, this is Coach Mo signing off.
Tuesdays with Coach Mo.